Hi guys, I'm back. So we are in the afternoon session of this 4-day course on Nature and Life, Size Solution Foundation course. Hi Sahana. We can have some music also. Yes.
Music play.
Hi. It's 3:30. So guys, if you have any question, please type. Could you understand the exercise that had been recommended in the previous session? Tathapi joined. Vikrant also joined. Few more people will actually join back. Yeah, Ranga. Nandini. Nandini is only without any profile picture. So with the icon itself, it can be easily distinguished. So let's start our revision of the basics of nature cure. Unless you have any specific doubt regarding the concepts that had been discussed in the past few hours. So should we proceed with our revision? Y for yes and for no? What we discussed in previous session is part of REBT. It is influenced by REBT. It is influenced by REBT. Yes, Asha. It's a combination of a lot of concepts, but definitely REBT plays one of the major roles. Right. Asa is for Y. Vikrant. No question, anybody? I'm not sure if Pooja has joined. Pooja, are you there? I don't see Pooja's icon. Right, guys. So we'll proceed with the revision. Great. It was amazing journey so far, and we are at the last phase of our course. So we started with this confirmation that throughout the course we will be sticking to the whys primarily. We will not be bothering much about who aspect. The individual influences will not be considered blindly. The scriptural influences also will not be identified blindly. Statistical influences also will not be influenced blindly. Will not ignore the existence of individual, scripture and statistics, but we continuously be evaluating the validity, dialectical validity of the individual's proposition, scriptural proposition and statistical proposition. Non-dialectically will not accept anything. So the why is the primary governing factor in our journey. We started with this particular question, why disease occurs. Okay, I get a notification from Pooja. Pooja, are you there? Could you join? I don't see your comment, but I see there are 9 people in the class. So could be some duplicated identity, but I saw some notification from Pooja on the iPad, so I'm not able to change the screen, otherwise this mirroring will be affected. Let me check the yeah, I think Pooja is in wrong. Yeah, Pooja has Pooja has joined the previous recorded session and Hi guys, I'm back. Let me comment there. Right. So we started with this particular question, why disease occurs, and Definitely without the definition of vitality and nature cure, the things cannot be proceeded. So couldn't have been proceeded. So nature cure is nothing but a science of vitality management, and vitality is the force behind our life. So our life altogether is a combination of form and formless. The formed entity is the body and the formless entity is the vitality. So these two are complementing each other. Without each other, the existence of life cannot be possible. So nature cure is a science which identifies both the entities, and this pure nature cure route is specifically starts with the understanding of body first. So it's also called dialectic materialistic route. So body first approach. So without body, the vitality is meaningless, and without vitality, the body will be dead body. With that understanding, we started with the thermodynamics, first law of thermodynamics, which is also known as the law of conservation of energy. So which says that energy in an isolated system can neither be created nor be destroyed. So with that understanding, and progressively we can actually establish all the thermodynamics laws in nature cure lenses, under the lenses of nature cure. So the first law of thermodynamics is the foundation forming conception, which says that the vitality quotient is constant and the vitality will stay in the body till the perishment of the body. Body is considered as the isolated system. Now with that foundation, the two principles were discussed: the voice of the organism. The voice of the organism is nothing but the analysis of our feelings, and while analyzing the feelings, we need to understand that the feelings are generated due to few stimulus or stimuli. Those stimuli analysis is a part of voice of the organism understanding. So we need to analyze the stimuli to identify the feelings. So any good feeling is nothing but good for us. Any bad feeling is nothing but bad for us. So how to react with the stimuli of good feeling and bad feeling, that framework is given in the understanding of voice of the organism. In the voice of the organism, any good feeling to be identified, and the stimuli should be, the origin of the stimuli should be investigated, and if it is natural, then we need to be very relaxed and going ahead with that feelings as much as possible without stopping us unless we feel satiated. And if it is originated from an artificial origin, then we need to reject that. And on the other hand, for the bad feelings, we should outright reject irrespective of the stimulus. Even if it is nature originated, then also if the feeling is bad, then it should be rejected. What does the picture depict? Magnifying the voice of the organism. So good question, Nandini. This is a voice, it's a voice, right? Somebody is singing, very spontaneous singing of this boy in front of the microphone. So this voice only. So I have not thought about the magnifying the things, but definitely we need to calibrate, and that calibration needs some kind of magnification, so your interpretation can be taken up, in fact. So right, so I have given this examples of apple, apple jam and chili. Apple is a natural originated good feeling creator. Apple jam is an artificially created good feeling originator. So apple jam needs to be rejected under that norm, and apple should be accepted without restricting, and the other case, the chili creates, being a natural substance, it creates irritation. So it has to be rejected. We should not end up bluffing ourselves by mixing chili with something else and then suffer the blow inside, internally. So with that conception, we shifted to the next foundation of law of unity, which says that the symptoms are not whole, the cause is the whole, and we all we are parts of the body. All the parts of the body are connected through a blood medium. Yeah, strange looking microphone. Right, Nandini. So the law of unity is consideration of the cause more than the symptoms, and identifying the cause and working on the cause primarily. And whenever we keep on defying the law of unity and don't listen to the voice of the organism repeatedly, then we end up innervating ourselves, because the innervation happens on the vitality depletion, and whenever it is against the founding principles of nature cure, or nature rather, then the toll goes on the vitality that we have inside, and with that vitality effect, actually we suffer the blow on the spent amount. The depleting will be higher, and that state is called as innervation, and the innervation in layman language, it is nothing but tiredness. You need to understand this. Now whenever we are tired internally, innervating ourselves, then the bodily processes will be affected for sure. And in the bodily process, there are three steps: input, processing and output. Input, processing and output. So that out of those three steps, the output, which is the last step of in the order, which gets affected. When that gets affected, that time body starts retaining toxins which were to be thrown out, which gets retained in the body. And with that retainment of the toxin, body develops a condition called toxemia. And this toxemia is nothing but accumulation of toxin in the body beyond a limit. When it goes, that time body actually trigger the healing crisis. We'll come to that little later, but we also explain the default cure, which is the metabolism. And for that reason, I shared that the name of this course is changed to Nature and Life, because the cure is an assumption. Cure is a continuous process. So far the craze of detoxing is just an imagination, because detoxing is happening 24/7. 24/7, it is an unstopped aspect of life. The metabolism is 24/7, and in the metabolism there are two sub processes. One is catabolism, another is anabolism. Catabolism is the breaking down of the cells, and anabolism is building up of the cells. So catabolism and anabolism is unstopped process 24/7. So through catabolism we detox, if we can term that way, and through anabolism we build up back the cells. So these processes are going on, and when these processes are not stopped, then with a managerial capability and aptitude, what we can do is we can bring a better inputs and a better vitality, conserved quantity, so that the metabolism is effective metabolism can be attained, and the anabolism will be bringing better cells, and that better cells is termed as cure. But it is an ongoing process, it is a journey, because the moment the wrong inputs and depleted vitality will be there, then the anabolic process will create the bad cells, the diseased cell, the toxic cells. So that there is no guaranteed cure, as such, it is a metabolism and it is a programmatic process. It is a tendency of nature. It is not an intention of nature. We need to understand that. Now, whenever we suffer from toxemia, the body undergoes a healing crisis by default. Healing crisis is nothing but the special elimination of the toxins by the body. The spatial elimination, why the spatial elimination? Because body has got two types of elimination already in place. One is the continuous elimination through breathing. It is unstoppable. If you stop, we die. And next is the regular elimination, such as the stool, urine, sweat, all these. Mucus formation, somewhat mucus formation everywhere, wherever the pores are, opening pores are there a lot. So, though the mucus is not all the time bad thing, we can actually talk that later stage, but definitely mucus carries toxin also many a time. So this healing crisis is spatial elimination, when those normal and regular and the continuous elimination are not enough to expel the toxin, then body triggers this healing crisis to expel the extra toxin that is there inside us by raising the temperature of the body. Raising the temperature, body actually do the liquefaction of the solid substance, solid toxic substance. So for that, body needs to raise temperature, and that temperature, with that heat, actually the solid toxin gets reduced to liquid and gaseous, and it gets out from the body. So all this expulsion of the toxin, if you look at, are liquid or gaseous in nature. These are not too hard solid, and those liquefaction happen by the body because of the vitality, and vitality is equivalent to heat, and that's why heat is a great tool to detoxify us. But this heat needs to be evolved through the vitality conservation. We cannot impose heat to. Okay, Asha raised a question, why does body produce mucus? Does the mucus protect the internal organs? Yes. Yes, so mucus is a kind of protection. If you see our eyes, then eyes, eyes are mucus filled. Now mucus is not negative always. It can contain toxin. So mucus is not bad always. Mucus is a kind of lubricating substance which is a bodily fluid, and it protects and it actually holds the toxin to go to the further internal organs, right? So many orifices which are open are filled with mucus, like our eyes, our genitals, mainly the female genitals are mucus filled. So these even the male parts of the genitals also there are mucus layers of mucus. So these things are very much effective and helpful for the body. In normal conditions also body has mucus, right? Yes, Asha, that's what I was saying, that in normal condition we have mucus. Now overflowing of mucus mainly when the body undergoes innervation and cannot expel the toxin, that time mucus is a easy process to expel the toxin. For example, coughing, coughing by the children primarily, mainly in the infancy stage, we should not suppress the cough at all, because through coughing what they do, they cannot expel the mucus, the toxic mucus through mouth, they gulp it, and yeah, so that is the difference. The toxic mucus is phlegm, so what children do is they gulp it and they actually throw it away through the stools. This is an amazing process. Whenever there is some formation of mucus in the respiratory tract and lungs, because these lung is a tool to expel the things as gaseous, as a air. It doesn't have the capability to expel the higher dense toxic. So when that kind of toxin gets accumulated in the respiratory tract and the lungs, then what is the process to throw it out? The process is inbuilt, the suction process is inbuilt within us, that is called coughing. And this coughing is a phenomenal act of the body through which we suck the phlegm and mucus from the respiratory tract and the lungs and we throw it away. And for a grown-up person, it is easy to throw it away through the nose and the mouth, but for an infant, it is not possible because they couldn't achieve that capability of throwing it, spitting it out. For them, it is an amazing structure of the body. There is a connection between the respiratory tract and the food pipe, and the same phlegm goes into the food pipe and it comes out through the stool. So this is an amazing process. Otherwise, the intestine doesn't have any filtration capability of the food pipe, or the digestive system doesn't filter the blood, but it works as a substitute process or standby process for elimination of the toxin through this process for the infants, right? So this is an amazing construct of our internal organs. Now continuing the healing crisis, I was talking about the healing crisis. Now healing crisis is a great tool of the body to expel the toxin. Now in the process, mucus creating foods are what then? Mucus less diet is of what use? See, the mucus creating food is, again, I personally don't understand these languages, because everything has to be routed through the vitality spent, through the innervation, then the toxemia happen. So direct connection to the toxemia is a kind of galloping. So some foods or many foods are there which create innervation and hence the toxemia happens. That route is understandable. But blaming some specific food as mucus creator is a kind of limited understanding to me. And see, this mucus formation can happen to any good food also if you do not have inculcated the vitality conservation holistically. The vitality conservation holistically is very much important. It is not the only food which creates innervation. So mucus creating food is a kind of limited explanation. I don't understand that. So now whenever body undergoes this healing crisis, it should not be suppressed. Whenever it is suppressed, that time we head towards the chronification of the disease. Okay, Kajal joined. Kajal, we are just revising the initial concept of nature cure, and this is a kind of concluding session for the contents. We'll be rejoining at 7 for the final session. But this is the final. We have covered all the contents so far. It is just a revision of the initial understanding of nature cure science. Now, whenever the suppressions are there repeatedly, that time the chronification happen, and this particular graph explains the chronification of the disease. I get a question or some comment from Nandini. Sometimes stool has mucus, so what is that? Is it called something else? That's what I explained. The stool comes from the respiratory tract through the suction process. The coughing is the main suction process of the body through which the mucus, the phlegm from the lungs and respiratory tract are sucked and transferred to the food pipe. So that's a standby process of the body. Otherwise, the mucus which is sucked can be it can be spit out. Yeah, Pooja has joined. Pooja, I'm sure you have joined the previous live session thinking that as a live. So now onwards, this is just an understanding that live session will have left top corner one red blink as live. So that live session only you should join. So anyway, this is for this particular batch, this is the penultimate class, but just for understanding for other time. Right. Now this chart, the black letters shows these A, B, C, D, E, F, G are innervation, toxemia, irritation, inflammation, ulceration, hardening, cancer. Now we start from this place. If we innervate ourselves, then body will try to, so I'll just explain that x axis is the vitality spend, and just a second, this is a I need to actually change this. Anyway, I'll just explain. This is the chronification, this one, and this is the vitality spend. This is an old chart, somehow it came to this PPT in the newer chart. I'll show that at the end of this session again. So this is the chronification, the x-axis. The x-axis is chronification and y-axis is the vitality spend. So when we spend a lot of vitality, just follow my red arrow, then we end up innervating ourselves. Body will try to reduce the spend, but at that time, if we suppress it, then it goes to the next stage as toxemia. Then again body will try to reduce it, then again a healing crisis. This green ovals are healing crisis. Healing crisis will be happening, but if healing crisis is suppressed, then we go to the next stage, which is called irritation. Again the same thing will happen, and again suppression will lead us to go to the inflammation stage. And then again for the next stage is the ulceration, the next stage is the hardening, and the last stage is the cancer. Now this cancer is little different understanding from the medicinal understanding of cancer. Okay, I get okay, Pooja said that it happened twice with her. I understand, Pooja. Nandini says that in case of an adult also, or is it like diarrhea condition? So it is the mucus. See, the mucus formation within the stomach and the digestion system also can be possible. So I was talking about that mucus, transferring of the mucus from the lungs and the respiratory tract to the digestive system, right? So that mucus formation independently also can happen within the stomach also and the digestive tract also. How do you quantify vitality spend? Through your understanding the sense of life. There is no tool, and there should not be any tool also, because that will end up confusing us. Right. So, I was talking about the cancer understanding of nature cure. It is not the similar understanding as the medicinal. There are lot of cancerous condition inside us present, and the reversal happens simultaneously. So it is not as alarming as the medicinal understanding, because medicinal understanding has got different stages of cancer, and those are definitely coming under the cancer category of nature cure also. But what I mean to say is, cancer is not something extraordinary things. It is there within us anytime, unless it is uncared, it gets reversed actually. So uncared includes the suppression. So that's what Asha, since you asked that what do you mean cancer is different from medicinal definition? Yes. What, Nandini, there are numbers there? I couldn't get that question. Can you elaborate? So this is what is that? Then the chronification of disease, and the reversal also happens the same way. Once you are in the cancerous stage, then you go into the hardening, then ulceration, and then inflammation and irritation, then toxemia, then innervation. So for few instances also the reversal will be there in the same order for sure, right? So we understand up to here. Then we understood the acute and chronic disease. Acute and chronic disease is this is more than 37 degree centigrade and this is less than 37 degree centigrade in general, because the acute condition is necessarily higher temperature because it requires temperature, it requires heat to reduce the density of the toxin to expel it. For that, acute condition will have higher body temperature. Then I shared the concept of vitality ribbon, and vitality ribbon connected to the longevity. Longevity to be understood as a unique achievement of the body, it should not be compared. We understood that. Then okay, numbers on the scale of vitality spent, those are indicative. You should not take it very seriously. I had to show some graphical interpretation. That's why the number was formatted in the graph software. So those are indicative. You can just ignore those. Nandini asked that numbers on the scale of vitality spent, why it is so. Right, now attributing factors of vitality and the longevity both are three factors: genetic, environment and lifestyle. Genetic, environment and lifestyle. Genetic as far as individual health of mine. When I talk about my health, then genetic analysis is not needed. Because unnecessarily, why should we spend our energy and time on analyzing something which will not contribute any betterment, which will not will not be able to change it, right? So this analysis for the self is not important, but understanding of genetic attribution is important for the next generation, next offspring. Now environment is another impact, which again a community effort. With the environment also, changing the environment also is needed for better health, but at times it is impossible for us to address that issue because it is a community effect. It is a community effect, and we need to think about that. We need to connect with each other to better our environment. That is unarguable. But till the time, what should we do? We need to focus on the lifestyle, and lifestyle has got these three channels of vitality conservation: consumption, physical, physiological, psychological, in other words mechanical, chemical and mental. Now with this understanding, we shared that vitality quotient is that unique wallet which has got a bad news that you can't earn more, but the good news is that you have enough. So whatever the quotient that we have, it is more than enough. The understanding of incomplete vitality is unfounded, because whatever it is there, you can do a lot of things by just managing that. And this can go metaphysical also in our lives also. Our need, wants and greed, if we can understand properly, then we will find that whatever we have is always more than enough, if we have the understanding of the difference between need, want and greed properly. So will not go that deep in this level, but definitely there is a food for thought. Now, another analogy that was proposed here is the consumed vitality. So, you need to understand the vitality quotient is nothing but few levers at your disposal within you. So, X number of levers are there at your disposal which are multitasking. They can do any task that are given to them. Now, the consumed vitality is nothing but the engaged multitasking labor force that are within you. So, and conserved vitality is nothing but disengaged multitasking labor force within you, who are always ready, to work for you, just sitting inside you, giving you a sense of life, giving you a sense of energy within. So, that is the disengaged multitasking labor force. So, vitality quotient is a huge group of multitasking labors within you. It's a huge, we need not to compare with each other. Whatever we have, it's more than enough. The moment we start conserving vitality, we'll find that force within us. We'll find that sense within us. Then this sense of incompletion will go away easily. Now, this particular is one moment of vitality quotient. A, B, C, 3 point. AB is constant always. AC plus CB equals to AB. This is understandable. Now, this C goes up and down. The red portion is vitality spent or engaged vitality. The green portion is conserved vitality or disengaged vitality or sense of life. Now, if we add two moments, if the previous moments had a bad habit, that has got an induction effect, negative induction effect to the next moment. This is moment 1, this is moment 2. Similarly, if we have a good habit, that has got an induction effect in the next moment by increasing the conserved vitality portion. You see an increment in the green portion. The sudden death is sudden consumption of the whole quotient for any reason. This could be an accident, this could be even heart attack, it could be electric shock or whatnot. So, the moment we touch that top quotient, we die. The mature death is a progressive death which will be actually a conscious death when you understand that you are going to die. So, it cannot happen without optimum conservation of vitality, slowly and progressively, when you are not suffering from any chronic illness. Now, if the moments are added together, then this can form a ribbon where we see the up and down of the sense of life. Green is the sense of life, red is the vitality spent. So, this is the ribbon. Now, a conventional life with casual separation was the point number 1 is the birth, point number 8 is the death, and progressively we have the young stage, the chronic stage, the conservation of vitality, the triggers of healing crisis, the suppression, the progression of disease and death. Vitality intelligence is a characteristic or an aptitude of individual through which we manage our vitality well, and that looks something like that, which also has the ups and downs, but primarily green at the top, as you see. So, there will be ups and downs, there will be triggers of this healing crisis, but ultimately it will be happy death if you are vitality intelligent, if you understand the complete process of vitality conservation in terms of physical, physiological and psychological, and in this course we understood and connected with the concept of union and unison too. Severely mismanaged vitality ribbon. Severely mismanaged vitality ribbon has got lot of red in it, as you see. This lot of red actually depicts that it is a mismanaged vitality, and the repeated suppression is one of the main reasons of mismanaging the vitality. This leads to untimely death, immature, premature death. All the points are understandable. Now coming to the health tips, these were not discussed in the initial introduction, but we have discussed in the process of understanding the nature cure in a detailed manner. So we'll have a few of the action plan. So we need to understand this concept of to do versus not to do. To do versus not to do. This is very important aspect, and this needs a little more explanation before we switch to the next topic. So Ranga, the cause of heart attack cannot be depicted abruptly in generally. A case to case basis we need to analyze, but definitely it's toxemia for sure, because heart attack is the stoppage of blood circulation to the heart, and how that circulation can be stopped is the blocking there, and blocking can happen if something is there, matter is there accumulated in terms of toxin, and we understood that the toxemia happens due to innervation, and innervation happens when repeatedly we don't listen to the law of unity, and we don't align ourselves with law of unity and don't listen to the voice of the organism. I have a question regarding disintegration of food into raw elements. Yes, Asha, go on. So by that time this question comes, let me explain this to do versus not to do. See, we have choices, to see and interpret the things. Now, by default, we end up seeing both the things. Now, if we actually focus more on what not to do, then we end up spending time uselessly, because not to do is an enforcement. Not to do is an enforcement and amounting to suppression. So in that understanding, we need to understand that we should not suppress anything. We should not control but convince. So focusing on not to do is not the right way. Instead of that, focusing on to do is the right approach. So for example, if you have a wrong food habit, then don't eat this, don't eat that. If we go on discussing that, there will be an endless discussion. But if we focus on what to eat, and if we inculcate a habit of eating those things more and more, then ultimately we have a single stomach. We will end up reducing what not to eat. We need not to bother about it. And this is something metaphysical also you can go. The difference between true and false. The truth is neutral and unique. If suppose I ask you how many fingers, then there is a single answer. There is a single answer which is true, which is one finger. Now, if the answer to be false, there could be multiple faces of that answer. It could be 5, it could be 500, it could be 3, it could be 33, it could be 44, it could be 31, it could be any number. So the not to things are endless, but to do things are specified. So let's focus on the to do things instead of not to do things. I get that question from Asha. Let me see that. If all food is disintegrated to RAW, how does it matter what the quality of the food is, I understand vitality is spent more, but how does it affect the quality of new cells built? That is the problem of understanding the toxemia first without connecting to the innervation. Because with the lack of vitality, the building of the cells will be of low quality. Now, if the food is itself doesn't have the good quality, that is another problem of the raw material supply. So the core is the innervation. If you have, so for example, if you have, because on this topic we had spent hours, I and Kevin, discussing on this. So if you have enough vitality, you can digest iron. Iron is not our food, right? So food doesn't matter literally, but what is the guarantee of having enough vitality? So to safeguard that, we need to inculcate right food. That is the easiest. If you can guarantee enough vitality, go for eating anything. But can you do that? So what is the guarantee of enough vitality within? So that is the reason we need to choose the right food. Okay, what was the question next? Is there a difference in the quality of RAW upon disintegration? Yes, if the right quality of RAW is not present in the food, then there is an effect of the disintegrated RAW quality, because it will not get, definitely from a burger you will not get right RAW, but from an apple you will get RAW proper. But why I said you can get, because provided you should have enough vitality to disintegrate the apple also. If you cannot disintegrate the apple properly because of the lack of vitality within, then the apple also turns out to be a toxin. Is everything has got, if everything has everything in it, why should we need vegetables in our diet? Right. So the vegetables in the diet is because it is not irritating in nature. Many vegetables are very tasty. So voice of the organism supports vegetable eating, number one. Number two, that we are in a habit of taking conventional food for generations. Now suddenly shifting to the fruits directly will enervate the individual first. So what is the fun of experimenting that? Why should we experiment that? Even the mono food kind of option, that mono food, when I say, not in a single meal, but overall in the life you are on banana or you are on coconut, then what the fun of having varieties of fruits around, right? So we don't recommend definitely the mono food diet throughout the day. So but a single meal should have a single food, that will conserve a lot of vitality, right? So we were talking about the to do and not to do. Now this focusing on to do is recommended. Now monitoring of voice of the organism is very much needed. So you will observe change in your voice of the organism progressively. It will get calibrated, and we discussed about that. That calibration is a cause of celebration. So that calibration needs to be acknowledged and monitored very closely. Now take the easiest path. That's very important. Take the easiest path, which is the density management. The density management means you need to actually eat right food at the right time, and we talked about the circadian cycle also, and then we talked about the quality and quantity. So in all our responses we need to consider the quality. In all our choices and responses we need to consider the quality. We talked about the food and the sleep and the excretion, everything, that The sleep could be physical hour, could be less, but if we choose the right time to sleep, then the quality of the sleep will be higher, quantity may look lesser. So that will give you throughout the day lot of conserved vitality and push for going beyond beyond the visible limits. So quality versus quantity to be understood and remembered. So enhance the quality always. Now the last few recommendations before I close the eating recommendation. Most of the eating should be between 2 to 8 p.m. The supply management should be checked at home. Supply management in terms of just you need to throw out all the garbages that you see in your kitchen. You need to fill your kitchen with proper raw food a lot, because at the time of hunger, if you satiate yourself with anything else other than the fruits primarily, then the beyond conscious mind will take it up as the right food, and that will be actually jeopardizing your whole initiative of changing the lifestyle. So you need to manage your supply at the kitchen very dialectically, so that you have around you only the right food. So whenever you identify a craving towards a specific food, you can have that food going out, but with limited quantity. But your house should be that wrong food free. Create a group, be a part of the group. Community formation is very much needed for maintenance of the motivation and inspiration. You are welcome to join our alumni group, Sai Solution alumni group. Many of you are already part of it. Those who are not, they can give their consent. So we have a WhatsApp group. Actually on Facebook also we have multiple groups, so you can join the Facebook group. You can follow our page Sai Solution, fb.com/get Sai Solution. I think in the footnote it is there on the slide. And continuous research is very much important, that you should not depend on Sai Solution. You should do your own research to validate your understanding and improve your understanding and contribute to others' understanding also, and track the change. Monitor the voice of the organism, as I said. You need to track the change of your responses. So sleep, as far as the sleep is concerned, major sleep should be 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Pre-sleep, you need to be gadget free. Pre-sleep, you need to be gadget free. Early to bed and no alarm should be the norm. Early dinner is another aspect, so that you get sleep well in time. Shift works to early hours. So shift your works if it is not an organization pressure, because organization pressure needs to be dealt in a different way. But if you are independently working for yourself, and you feel that night I have to work something, just shift that to the early hours. That is the wise shift and the productivity enhancing. And just try it for few fortnights, you will see the result in the productivity. Now coming to work. Major works should be from 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. and the work should be as rational as possible, as mindful as possible. Mindfulness means your mind is full with that particular work. That needs to be inculcated. So with rational understanding only this is possible, so that the junk thoughts will not be arising. And we had those examples of studying for scoring high and also buying clothes. If you remember, just correlate those kind of analysis for each of your decisions. The decisions should be as rational as possible. Active and poised. So you need to actually be active and poised during your work. So if your work is creating stress for you, then it is not the right thing for you. So you need to relook at it, and if you have to switch your work, switch your job, please give a mindful consideration to that, because this is not the life that you are aspiring for. the life needs to be poised and active and bring innovation, because innovation is endless. In every part of our life, every step of our life, we can bring innovation a lot, and that innovation is nothing but enhancing the unison phase. The creativity is innovation, the creativity is unison. So more innovation, more merging ourselves to the unison phase, which is the ultimate, with the foundation of and union. So right guys, so the last word, the whole initiative is to just bring some knowledge, bring some information in front of you, because the knowledge only ushers the change. As you see in the pack of cigarette, there is a written alarm, smoking kills, and that's the ideal. Whoever is smoking, taking the responsibility of her health or his health in respective individual's hand, and that kind of thing is needed to bring a better world, better universe, that we should do the things with a known approach, with the information needed should be there available. So this initiative of Psi Solution is to bring that information dialectically as possible, as rational as possible. Now, yeah, so next slides are again the repetition of the advertisement of my book. And Kevin Hinton's book is not available, as Asha mentioned, that is not available in India right now, but it will be. Yeah, do you want to tag Kevin Hinton in this video? I can tag, and I have tagged. Yeah, so it's an alert from Facebook. Amazing innovation Facebook brings. So so that way, so I have tagged Kevin on this video. You can find Kevin's profile and our group, Nature Cure group, which Asha actually shared the link. So find out the largest Nature Cure group on Facebook and join that. So Kevin was the admin and founder of that group. Now Victoria Moran and I are the admins of that group, but definitely the contribution made by Kevin is huge, humongous, and we keep referring that those more often with few of the postings from our side. So yeah, so guys, it was amazing. It is dot 4:30 and we are bang on time. So guys, any comment that you want to share, just prepare that comment, and we are catching up again at 7. And after this silence, we'll close the session, and by that time, if you are typing already something, so do type, continue typing. After the silence, I'll take up those questions. Right. Okay, there are some question. Menstruation is due to toxin, or is it normal to have no discharge also? Uh, no, menstruation is a toxin expulsion by the body. Uh, so normal to have no discharge should be having some reason. So that cannot be commented in general. That needs to be, if the age is right, and the lady to menstruate, and if the menstruation is not having, then there is some clogging, and that's definitely some kind of toxemia for sure, which is again triggered by innervation. We need to look at it at the conservation of vitality aspect, and the things will be unclogged by the body itself. Having no periods, what do you mean? Like no periods at younger age, or latter, like after the menopause? Please explain that. Having no period in the younger age, not start of the puberty, which is absolutely fine. You need not to worry about that if you are meaning that. So that let the body decides on its own. But after once reaches to the puberty, then it should be a regular cycle as per as the nature. No period in the 30 years. So that's a concern, that's a health issue. We need to look at the individual case. Right. So Nandini says no period in 30 years. That means the puberty is started and then it stopped for some reason. So 30 years is not the right age in general to stop menstruating. So we need to look at it on case specific basis. I cannot comment in general. Right guys, so we'll reconnect at 7 p.m. sharp for our final session, and there will be a lot of interesting activities that we will do during the final session. Thank you.